But as time passed, strange things began to happen in the village. People fell ill without explanation, their bodies wasting away as if they were consumed by an unseen force. Crops withered in the field, livestock grew sick, and a sense of unease settled over the once peaceful community. Once upon a time, in a remote village, there lived a woman named Ngozi. To the villagers, she was just an ordinary old woman, quiet and peaceful, known for her skillful hands and her love for braiding hair. But Ngozi harbored a dark secret, one that she kept hidden from the unsuspecting villagers who sought for her service. For you see, Ngozi was not an ordinary hairstylist. She was a witch, skilled in the dark arts and practiced it in the ways of ancient magic. Under the cover of darkness, Ngozi would go out into the village, her eyes glowing with a light as she sought out her unsuspecting victims. With a whispered incantation and a flick of her fingers, she would weave her magic into the hair, binding them to her will with each braided strand. The villagers were marveled and impressed at the beautiful design that she made on their heads, unknown of the dark power that was hidden within each twist. They praised Ngozi for her skill, going around neighboring villages and telling them about Ngozi's beautiful handwork, showering her with gifts and offerings in gratitude for her beautiful and miraculous abilities. But as time passed, strange things began to happen in the village. People fell ill without explanation, their bodies wasting away as if it was consumed by an unseen force. Crops withered in the fields, livestock grew sick, and sense of unease settled over the once peaceful community. Whispers of witchcraft and dark magic spread like wildfire through the village. Fueled by fear and superstition, the villagers cast suspicious glances at one another, wondering who amongst them was responsible for the misfortune that has befallen their once thriving community. Unknown to them, Ngozi watched from the shadows, her heart heavy with guilt for the suffering she had caused. She had never intended for her magic to bring harm to others, but the dark forces that she had unleashed had taken on a life of their own. They have overpowered her and gone beyond her control. As suspicion grew, a group of brave villagers joined together, determined to uncover the truth behind the village problem and put an end to the source of their suffering once and for all. Armed with torches, they set out into the forest, their hearts filled with righteous fury and determination. Their search led them to Ngozi's humble cottage, hidden deep within the heart of the forest. With a sense of dread, they approached the door, their hands trembling as they prepared to confront the woman they believed to be the cause of their misfortune. But when they entered the cottage, they found Ngozi sitting quietly by the fire, her eyes downcast and her hands folded in her laps. There was no sign of dark magic that had plagued the village, no hints of the power that had once lurked within their braids. Confused and bewildered, the villagers demanded answers from Ngozi. accusing her of witchcraft and dark deeds. But Ngozi remained silent, her gaze fixed on the flames dancing in the heart, her mind lost in memories of a past she could never reclaim. Realizing that they had been mistaken, the villagers turned to leave. Their heads hung low with shame for the accusation they had leveled against Ngozi. But as they reached the door, a voice rang out from the darkness, chilling them to the bone with its icy tone. It was the voice of the true witch, the one who had manipulated Ngozi's magic for her own twisted purposes. With a flick of her wrist, she revealed herself to the villagers, her eyes blazing with intent as she unleashed her dark powers upon them. The villagers screamed in terror as the witch's magic enveloped them, binding them in place with invisible chains and draining the life from their bodies with each passing moment. They realized too late that they had been lured into a trap, their suspicions playing right into the witch's hand. But Ngozi, filled with remorse for the suffering she had caused the village, refused to stand by and watch the village fall to ruin. With a strength born of desperation, she called upon the last vestiges of her magic, weaving a protective barrier around herself and the villagers, shielding them from the witch's power. In a final, desperate act of defense, Ngozi confronted the witch, her eyes blazing with determination as she unleashed her full power upon her enemy. The forest shook with the force of their battle, the very earth trembling beneath their feet as they clashed in a struggle for survival. For hours, the battle continued, each fighter refusing to yield to the other's power. But in the end, it was Ngozi who emerged victorious, her magic proving stronger than the witch's dark sorcery, as she banished her enemy from the village forever. With the threat of the witch influence lifted, the village began to heal, its people coming together to rebuild their community and forge a new future free from the shadow of fear and suspicion. And though Ngozi's magic had been tainted by darkness, her actions had saved them all from destruction. In the years that followed, Ngozi became a legend in the village, her name whispered in awe and reverence by those who remembered the sacrifice she had made to protect them. And though she had been forced to leave the village behind, her spirit lived on in the hearts of all who had been touched by her bravery and selflessness.